Everyone, will the clerk please call the roll?
Calling the roll for the Monday, December 4th, 2023 Board of Control meeting. It is 11:01 a.m. We have Councilmember Meredith Turner,
Here.
Councilmember Dale Miller,
Here.
Trevor Meckler serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones Jr.,
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever,
Here.
Catherine Gallagher serving as an alternate for Chris Ronay, County Executive,
Here.
Michael Chambers, Interim Fiscal Officer, serving as Chairman,
Here.
Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the review and the approval of the minutes from November 27th. I will make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes are approved. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Let's move on to our first item.
First item, BC 2023-769, Department of Public Works submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to U.S. Bank National Association in the amount not to exceed $360,000 for routine fuel purchases for the County Fleet Division for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, everyone. Tom Pavich, Public Works. This item, we're looking for approval of a purchase order. As Cheryl said, it's with a U.S. bank. This is for routine fuel purchases. It's our fleet card program that our division of fleet can fuel up their vehicles at local gas stations. It's with a U.S. bank. The program is a Voyager program. It's a not-to-exceed purchase order amount for all of 2024. I will make a note that we put funds in here to take us through the end of next year. But as the county fiscal office and treasurers working on their new banking contract for the county, the fuel program would become a part of that contract. So once that is approved and the fuel part is part of that new contract, we will decertify these funds.
Thank you, Mr. Pavich. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-770, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with Patriot Industrial Technologies Limited for water treatment chemicals and services for boiler and air conditioning equipment at various county buildings for the period May 4th, 2022 through May 3rd, 2024, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $23,000.
Good morning again, Tom Pavich, Public Works. This is an amendment with Patriot Industrial. They provide the water treatment at various county buildings. The water treatment is for our boilers and HVACs. They come in and test the water to make sure there's no contaminants and nothing damages that type of equipment. It's a low-dollar contract. It was originally awarded through a bid process. We're looking to amend it through next year to put it on a calendar basis and add additional funds.
Okay, Tom, thank you. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2023-771, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with Cold Harbor Building Company for the purchase of replacement generators located at the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Building to change the scope of services to include ADA improvements to the parking lot and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $298,329.52.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. This is an amendment request for an in-progress capital construction project under a contract with Cold Harbor Building Company to replace the generators at the Emmy Building. That original scope of services for this approved contract involves the demolition of a duct bank and installation of a new duct bank across the main drive at the medical examiner facility and into and disrupting the main entrance. Coincidentally, we also have programmed for 2024 capital an ADA improvements project, and it involves reconstructing ADA parking and the ramp going into the main entry. So we are seeking this amendment, so we're doing all that work at once. So we're not ripping up the main drive and the main entry at two different times under two different projects. So this will be removed from the ADA project next year and will be incorporated and completed in conjunction with demolition and construction of this project. Happy to answer any further questions.
Thank you, Matt. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-772, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Nexum Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $26,456.82 for the purchase of one replacement Palo Alto Networks firewall and accessories, including software support and maintenance services for a period of 3 years, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Kristen Kaspar with the Department of Information Technology.
This purchase is for an approved IT standard firewall, which is the Palo Alto Networks firewall. The goal to replace this firewall is because the state of Ohio has currently upgraded their firewall, and in order for Cuyahoga County to interface with their firewall, we had to replace ours as well.
Okay, Kristen, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-773, Department of Information Technology submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to AT&T Corporation in the amount not to exceed $8,262 for a state contract purchase of ISDN Prime Network and telecommunication services for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Kristen Caspar with the Department of Information Technology. This contract is for 1 year, and it is for our PRI service, which is what IT uses with AT&T to connect our legacy Centrix telephone system to our modern VoIP, which is Voice over Internet Protocol system.
Thank you again. Are there questions from the board?
Yes.
Councilman.
Do you anticipate at some point that we would no longer be using Centrex, and if so, what would we replace it with?
Centrex is being identified as a service that we are going to replace. It is a legacy system. AT&T has identified that in the near future, they're no longer going to be providing this service. And right now, IT is in the infancy stages of trying to figure out what we are going to replace that with.
Okay.
Are there additional questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-774, Department of Information Technology submitting an amendment to a contract with AT&T Corporation for Centrex telephone and messaging services for the period June 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2024, to change the terms effective upon signature of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $400,000.
Again, this is for the Centrex services line, which is a telephone and messaging service that's primarily used in the Justice Center and the old courthouse. This is an antiquated service. We've had it 30-plus years, and AT&T is looking to retire this. And as just stated, IT is looking for another solution to replace Centrex.
Okay, thank you again. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-775, Department of Information Technology submitting an amendment to a contract with AT&T Corporation for long-distance services for the period January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2026, to change the terms effective January 1st, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $90,000.
This is another IT standard approved service with AT&T for our long distance. Long distance supports our measured business analog and Centrex telephone lines.
Thank you, Kristen. Are there questions from the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2023-776, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division submitting an amendment to a contract with Case Western Reserve University Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences for evaluation services of the Safe Harbor docket programs for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2024, to change the terms effective July 1st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $23,000.
Good morning, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court. Yes, this vendor provides evaluation services for programs within the court's Safe Harbor docket. This program is an amendment to a previously approved contract and is 100% funded through Reclaim.
Thank you, Sharon. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-777, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, recommending awards and submitting agreements with various municipalities in the total amount not to exceed $9,900 for community diversion program services for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, as listed for items A and B on the printed agenda.
Good morning, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court. This is 2 of the 30 community diversion programs. They are intended to divert youth from the court using community-based programs throughout Cuyahoga County.
Thank you again. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions on this item, I will make the motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-778, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Denounce Gang Intervention Program Corporation in the amount not to exceed $78,600 for mentoring services for court-referred youths ages 11 to 18 with high risk for recidivism for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court again. This vendor will provide strength-based mentoring services that are co-facilitated by a licensed therapist and mentors who have been trained in de-escalation conflict, resolution, mediation for the court-referred youth. This program was written into Reclaim.
Okay, Sharon, thank you again. Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-779, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $245,481.90 for positive youth development services for court-referred youths with high risk for recidivism for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, as listed for items A and B on the printed agenda, and submitting various contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning. This is an RFP exemption. This would be seeking approval for 2 of the 21 contracts that's coming through. Friendly Inn is the vendor to provide vocational training, tutoring, and social-emotional learning for youth in Cleveland Central neighborhood and surrounding areas. The youth referred shall be of any gender, and this program was written into the Reclaim grant. Let Art Breathe is the primary goal of this program is to engage youth that are identified as at risk of recidivism. The youth will participate in activities to create personal art, to develop self-expression, utilizing various artistic methods in art studio. And this program was written into the Reclaim grant as well.
Okay, thank you again. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-780, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to Nerve DJ Institute Corporation in the amount not to exceed $75,000 for educational and vocational services for court-referred youths ages 16 to 20 with high risk for recidivism for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court. This vendor shall provide hands-on DJ techniques, sound engineering, and music technology using a combination of music therapy and DJ instructions to allow for group self-expression, communication, and skill building for youth. This program was written into the Reclaim grant as well.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next item, BC 2023-781, Sheriff's Department submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Custom Singles Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $6,585 for a state contract purchase of 3 handheld LiDAR Pro Laser 4 bundle and accessories, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Chris Costin. This is a recommendation to custom signals for the purchase of 3 handheld LiDAR lasers.
Gentlemen, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-782, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services recommending an award on RQ 12901 and submitting a purchase order with Infinite Protection Limited in the amount not to exceed $96,000 for the purchase of 2 self-contained mobile camera surveillance units for the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections and the Cuyahoga County Sheriff Criminal Justice Information Sharing Program.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. And these 2 items will be housed by the Sheriff's data warehouse. The Board of Elections one, I will note, will be used by the Board of Elections during election season, but at other times of the year can be used by other agencies. This was competitively bid twice, and we are awarding to the lowest cost vendor.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-783, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, on behalf of the Medical Examiner's Office, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Fisher Scientific Company LLC in the amount not to exceed $12,546 for a joint cooperative purchase of 3 ARIA anti-vibration tables and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Hugh Shannon from the Medical Examiner's Office. This is using more of the state ARPA grant money that we received. We're buying anti-vibration tables for the firearms unit.
Okay, Hugh, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Yes. For what situations are anti-vibration tables used?
So the work that's done with the comparison microscopes is very sensitive. There's very high magnification. So any vibrations from air conditioning, people walking by can move the scopes. So the anti-vibration tables are used to set the comparison scopes on to negate that effect.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure. Are there additional questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2023-784, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award on RQ 12991 and submitting a contract with Community of Hope in the amount not to exceed $150,000 for trauma-informed team mentoring services for young adults ages 18 through 24 who have and/or are aging out of the foster care system in Cuyahoga County for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. The purpose of this program is to provide timely, high-quality, intensive team mentoring services to support youth and young adults ages 18 to 24 who have aged out of foster care in Cuyahoga County. Volunteers serve as a network for the young adults, providing social, emotional, and other supports which will lead them to improved outcomes in the future.
Thank
We
you,
did
Mark.
issue, oh, I'm sorry, we did issue an RFP for this, and Community of Hope was the only respondent.
Okay, thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Yes.
Please.
How come we put out 31 bid packages and only got 1 response?
I don't have an answer for you. Community of Hope has been the provider of these services for the last several iterations. They're the only ones that seem to respond to this.
Okay, thank you.
Any follow-up questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-785, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award and submitting an agreement with Ohio Attorney General, care of the Treasurer, State of Ohio, Bureau of Criminal Identification and Investigation, in the amount not to exceed $450,000 for National Web Check Program services and equipment for criminal background checks on child care provider applicants for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026.
Marcos Cortez again. This is our standard contract with the Ohio Attorney General's Office to provide fingerprinting and background checks. DCFS is required to fingerprint all foster adoptive applicants every 4 years, foster adoptive parents every 2 years, relative caregivers, birth parents if requested, and household members 18 years of age and older.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-786, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Family and Children First Council, submitting an amendment to a contract with College Now Greater Cleveland Incorporated for the coordination of 6 out-of-state exposure field trips, college tours for the closing the Achievement Gap Program for the period August 3rd, 2022 through December 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2024, to change the number of field trips to 3, add Exhibits 1A and 2A scope of work and budget effective January 1st, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $125,000.
Good morning, Kathleen Stewart from Family and Children First Council. This contract amendment is for our exposure field trips for Closing the Achievement Gap, which works specifically with our Closing the Achievement Gap program. We are going to do 3 trips this year. The trips are chosen by College Now and the schools. For example, they go to Chicago, they go to Washington, D.C., they go to any HBCU here in Ohio. The trip has to be limited to 4 hours from Ohio. They usually serve about 30 to 40 students per trip, and they're from all the different districts.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-787, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, submitting an amendment to a contract with United Way of Greater Cleveland for implementation and administrative services for the Family Space Program for the period November 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2024, to amend the terms and add Exhibits 2A budget effective 1/1/2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $200,000.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez again on behalf of Invest in Children. Again, this is a contract amendment with United Way for the Family Space Initiative. Family spaces are hubs of programming, information sharing, and network building for young families with infants and young children in Cuyahoga County. There is a play space for parents and child with age-appropriate materials, as well as comfortable furniture, a resource area with information related to child development, early childhood services, and other relevant topics. And staffing is done by a professional with experience in parent coaching. We do plan on RFPing this for next year.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-788, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to the Osgood Group LLC in the amount not to exceed $70,000 for strategic planning consultant services and creating a framework for the development of a 3-year strategic plan effective upon contract signatures of all parties through December 31st, 2024, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
As you've heard, this is a contract with the Osgood Group for consultant services for a 3-year strategic plan for Invest in Children. The goal is to we hope it will result in a refreshing vision and course for Invest in Children's leadership role and position of influence in the early childhood community in Cuyahoga County. We did issue an informal bid. We received 7 bids. All of the bids were over the threshold for an informal bid. We met with the respondents and chose the Osgood Group based on their ability to provide the services we require.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board?
Yes, a comment and a question. The comment is I do think this is a good time for strategic planning for Invest in Children, I think that we're kind of at an inflection point at this time. My question is whether the strategic planning process is going to include questions of funding, such as whether we should go out and try to raise more private dollars and to include in the mix and such things, or is the strategic planning going to be limited to the more programmatic questions of what kind of services should be provided and how?
I believe it's going to be a comprehensive strategic plan looking at all of the different aspects of Invest in Children. They've prided themselves on being a public-private partnership in the past, and I believe they want to continue that kind of identification in the future.
Okay. Thank you. Best wishes for success.
Thank you.
Are there any follow-up questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-789, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Mental Health Services for Homeless Persons Incorporated, DBA Frontline Service for Eviction Prevention Services in connection with the Alternative Housing and Related Services and Support for COVID Recovery Continuum of Care Program for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2024, to modify the scope of services for eviction prevention services by providing support services only, effective January 1st, 2024, and for a decrease of funds in the amount of $70,000.
Marcos Cortez on behalf of the Office of Homeless Services. Homeless Services is partnering with vendors on solutions to address homelessness and housing insecurity in Cuyahoga County related to COVID-19 and to address any future emergency issues. The original contract for Frontline included both supportive services and eviction prevention services. However, the office asked us to separate the two services because it makes it easier for them to track and report back to HUD. Last week, this board approved, I believe, the eviction services contract. So this contract amendment is just for those supportive services, which include screening, specialized case management, and client assistance for high-risk families.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-790, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an amendment to a master contract with various providers for rapid rehousing services for homeless families and shelters in connection with the fiscal year 2021 Continuum of Care Homeless Assistance Grant Program for the period June 1st, 2022 through May 31st, 2024, to change the terms by adding Exhibit 2B budget effective June 1st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $494,088 as listed for items A through D on the printed agenda.
Good morning. Erin Reardon, Office of Homeless Services. This is an amendment to our contract for, master contract for 4 rapid rehousing providers. These providers offer rapid exit to families who are facing homelessness in shelter and provide them with rent assistance for the 12-month period following their exit from shelter.
Thank you, Aaron. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All in favor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on.
Moving on to consent agenda items, BC 2023-791 through BC 2023-793.
Just a couple of items here, board members. If there's any questions, feel free.
I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve today's consent agenda items as listed, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to other business.
No other business?
Is there any public comment?
No public comment?
I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. And